And ladies and gentlemen, to the Ysn Power Hour, DJ Yoakley with you, and it's all brought to you thanks to our friends over at Toyota of Warren. It is the 17th of September. It is a Tuesday, and it is time to get to know our coaches a little better. We have three coaches' corners for you today. One from our good friend Eric Hughes, Hot Take, who you see here every Friday, and certainly is making his impact felt right here on the network throughout the week with all the stuff that he does. A great person, number one, and a rising star in the sports entertainment and broadcast world. He has Coach Andrew Mamula of the Louisville Rockets doing the Coach's Corner with him. We taped it last night. It's available on YSN Live right now, and you'll see it right here on the YSN Power Hour here in just a few moments. We also have Jill Phillips, the cross-country coach for Warren JFK, and Sam Young, the Warren JFK volleyball coach for the last 7 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I had a chance to talk to them last week, and we'll recycle that. And then coming up at 3:30, you're not going to want to miss it. Nobody does. Andy Hake will join us, and we'll talk about his upcoming matchup against the East Palestine Bulldogs for the potential Kings of the EOAC heading into week 6. Who's going to be wearing that crown? United's going to have something to say about that as well. So we'll talk to Coach Hake about not only his matchup from last week, his matchup for this week, and then potentially some of the games that he likes to see. And, of course, I'm sure we'll have a couple Andy Hake-isms along the way as well. So to get to that on time, we got to get to these on time. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Hughes and Coach Andrew Mamula over at Bedford Trails.
Live, Eric Hughes here at Bedford Trails up in Louisville, joined by the Rockets football head coach, Coach Mamula. How you doing tonight?
Good, Eric. Thanks for having me.
Great. So, I've been covering Louisville the last couple years now. This is the first time I'm actually talking to you.
Yeah, I think I've seen you in passing, but I don't think I've ever actually had a conversation. You do a great job for us. I know that our fans that can't get to games love watching it. My grandparents, included, and they always say you have a lot of nice things to say about us. So I think you're a little bit of a homer for us, but I appreciate that.
Of course, man. Thanks. It means a lot. But let's talk about this past game you just had against Campbell. The last couple of years, I cover your games against Campbell. You dominated those games the last 2 years, but this year there's a little bit more suspense to it, even when down 1 point in the third quarter, but you're able to pull through in the end. What did you see differently from Campbell this year compared to the last couple?
They're much improved. I think Coach King has finally established his culture. I know him from my days at Poland. I know what he stands for. He's an unbelievable man as a coach, but he's even a better father and a better person in the community to have around. And you see that. Those kids were coached well. They're young. They had a sophomore quarterback, a sophomore running back. They made a lot of mistakes, and we luckily capitalized. But to be completely honest, I thought they outplayed us. I thought that their kids and their staff deserved to win. And I let our kids know that those kids absolutely should have beat you. And we kind of stole one from them. And I think it helps that we've been successful. So we're kind of used to being in those positions. But Campbell, man, they're a team to look out for. If those kids stay bought in and stay showing up, they're going to be a problem for some teams.
Yeah, can you describe the resiliency of your team during that game? Going down the third quarter, you were pinned back in your own red zone twice toward the end of the first half, but you got stops both times. How would you grade the resiliency of your team?
Well, yeah, the big thing was the stop right before half. They were about to go in to take the lead, and we stopped them on the one. They ran out of time. Then we came out, and they actually, I think they scored that opening drive. But offensively, we felt good. We were moving the ball. They tried to make us, drive the length of the field. They took away our deep shots to Josh Pazel on the outside, our receivers. But at the same point, we know we have a great back in Gino Perry. So we fed him the rock. We had a lineman that got injured in the first quarter, Brandon Harris. Luckily, he was able to come back the second, third quarter, and that stabilized our line. And we started to get a really good push in the middle. And that allowed us to kind of control things there. And then we were able to hang on. I mean, we still had a couple mistakes, some bad snaps, some things like that. But in the end, I thought we handled it pretty well.
Whenever you guys play Campbell, is there some little added to it just because they're down the road from you guys, straight up the hill? There's some more to it, or do you guys just kind of treat it like another game?
No, it's absolutely a different game. It's one of those things where rivalry games are rivalry games. They're different. It's like, I know you said you're from Struthers. Poland Struthers is different. Poland Canfield's different. It's us and Camel over the last couple of years, us and Springfield. To us, those games do mean something else. We do treat them differently. Then there's the other aspect of that our coaching staffs are intertwined. As I said, I have a strong relationship with Coach King, but then we have other coaches, Coach Minnie and Coach Hunt, that are on staff. Coach Hunt at Camel, he worked in Louisville schools for a long time, so there absolutely is something to it. It's kind of they're your neighbor, and you love them off the field, but it's at the same point on the field. It's a war, and it was an ugly, sloppy game on both sides. But sometimes that's how those rivalry games turn into, and that you just have teams that just want to win and do anything to get that W.
So the one thing that sticks out to me the most when I ever watch a Louisville game is you guys love to play aggressive, onside kicks, going for it on fourth down, things of that nature. What kind of gives you the confidence to go out there and dial up those high risk, high reward plays every single week?
I was always told it was high risk, but one of the reasons we onside kick is because we give up kick returns. My first year, we kicked it deep against Springfield and they housed it, and I'm like, well, what are we doing? We're trying to get our best players off special teams so that they can get a break. We're trying not to get guys hurt, so then we're putting younger guys on there, trying to give them an opportunity. So it actually turned into we don't want to risk a deep kick to give them a chance to return it. I mean, down in Toronto, we punted the ball, they returned it for a touchdown. It's one of those things where I know it looks risky, but I'll tell you, Division VII football, punting the ball is risky. It's my first year, we tried to punt our first game, perfect snapper just dropped the ball, and then they had the ball, in great field position. So I'd rather just give our kids a chance to do the things we practice. I mean, you can only practice punt so many times, only see so many bad snaps before you're like, hey, you know what? We got a 6'3" receiver, we got a quarterback that can throw it 50 yards. Let's just do that and take kind of that risk out of it, and I get the reward. The reward's there. So that's really a lot of our thinking, in that it's just hard to be really good at special teams at such a small school. So we just try to avoid doing those things, and it has worked out the last few years for us. We have to get better this year. We were 0 for 3 on fourth downs. We haven't recovered an onside kick this year. At the same point, we haven't given up one for a touchdown, so at least gives our defense a chance. So, I mean, that's a lot of our thinking. But even at the end of the game, you said that aggressiveness. We're trying to run down the clock, but then we knew we'd get single coverage and we could get Josh a chance in the end zone one-on-one, and we took that shot and we scored. And it was one of those because, yeah, we could run the ball. They use their timeout, and they might have 2 minutes and only down a point. So, absolutely, that goes into our thinking. That's our culture. Our kids know that's our culture, and it's helped us survive, and that's all we're trying to do down here.
Let's talk about your quarterback for a moment, Ricky Rollrich. Obviously, coming into the season, very big shoes to fill. You guys had great quarterback play the last couple of years from Vinny and Michael Blown. But Ricky comes in. He checks all the boxes, has a great arm. He can really thread the needle, can move out of the pocket when he needs to. And he's only a sophomore. What gives you the confidence in him to go out there and lead the team, being as young as he is?
Even when you listen to him talk, he sounds different. He did an interview for WKBN or somebody, and we got to establish the run game to open up the pass. And it was like I was like a 3-year veteran out there, like a college kid. So it's one of those where mentally he gets the game as a sophomore, and it's hard for seniors to get the game. And it's he understands read, he understands where the ball has to go. Last year when Michael was the starter, Ricky would be on the sideline next to Coach Vrabel saying, "Oh, we got to make this read. This is open. This." And it's one of those things that he sees it, and obviously he has the arm talent to take advantage of those things. I think sometimes he tries to put thread a needle in there when maybe he shouldn't, but at the same point, he's a sophomore. He's going to make some mistakes, and he hasn't made very many of them. And it's one of those things where we have trust in him. We know we're going to be able to take some shots deep with him. If you can challenge teams vertically, at our level, it gives you a chance, and he's taking what defenses give him. He's challenging when he should, and he did a better job taking care of the ball this past week as well.
Right. Let's talk about your next opponent, Western Reserve. So when you watch the film on the Blue Devils, who are a couple of players that really jump off the screen for you that you're going to be focusing on this upcoming week?
Yeah, they got some talent. They were the team that had a lot of guys returning. It starts with their linebacker, Nathan Hemberger, number 10. He was a kid that, last year when we saw him on film, he was a problem. He's a kid that he's just physical. He finds the ball. He makes tackles. They have another kid, Jack Darney. He's been playing us for 4 years. I swear Vinny Balone was throwing interceptions to him 4 years ago. I honestly think he threw a pick to him as a freshman. And so he's a senior now. and he's a problem on offense and defense. You know, last year in our playoff game, he was hurt, so he actually sat out that. But he's a difference maker. You know, the Prater kid at quarterback, he's a great runner, a hard runner. And I'm not even talking about their linemen. And they have some big guys. But those are the three that when you talk reserve, you got to talk about those three because they're three difference makers. They're three of the best players in the league, and they're the three people we have to account for if we want to have any success against them.
Yeah, there's not just West Reserve. Like, this is a pretty loaded conference, the MVAC. You got Springfield, Jackson Milton, Mineral Ridge. A lot of people say the Northeast State's the best conference in the area, but I always say the MVAC, I think, is just as competitive. Can you describe, like, the nature of playing the MVAC?
Obviously, you know, the Northeast State has bigger schools, so, you know, pound for pound, if we matched up, they'd beat us. But I agree with you that I think that at our level, it's a very good small school league. You know, currently no team in our league has a losing record after 4 weeks. I mean, I remember before I took this job, it was out of conference besides Springfield, McDonald, and Reserve. No team would win a non-conference game, whereas the past 2 years, it's almost no teams losing a non-conference game. So it's every week you have to be ready to play, and then you factor in injuries that you catch a team with a couple injuries, you got to take advantage of it. And it's no different this year. I mean, like I said, we saw Reserve against McDonald, and McDonald's a lot better than they were last year. And they weren't very bad. They weren't bad last year. They were young, but they're much improved. So, you know, every week's going to be a challenge for us, and we just got to make it through the gauntlet.
Yep, you guys are 3-1 to start the season. Had to bump the road there against Toronto, but so far off to a good start, but you do have those tough games coming up. If you could, like, pinpoint to one area maybe your team needs to be better at just so that you can sustain the success as we get deeper into the season, what would it be?
I mean, it's the defensive side of the ball. I honestly think offensively we have enough right now to be successful against these teams. You know, we're able to run the ball effectively. We're able to throw the ball vertically, which helps. But defensively, we got to get stops. We have trouble getting off the field on 3rd and 4th down. We have done a good job getting some turnovers, but we got to just be a better tackling team. We have to be more disciplined in our coverages and reading our keys. You know, against Toronto, we had some blown coverages, but even in the run game, we don't always read our keys correctly, and that causes us to get out of position, and then that allows them to get some big runs. So it's defensively, we're not where we need to be, and even special teams as well, as we got to find ways to have some positive special teams plays every game.
All right, one more question, Coach. So it seems like everybody's kind of waiting for Louisville to take that step back. You know, 2 years ago, you had Vinny Ballone. You guys were really good. People thought they're probably going to regress next year, but you actually get back to the playoffs. You get further in the playoffs. You win the MVAC again. People, what do you have to say to the people who think maybe you guys taking a step back this year?
You know, it's up to the kids. I told the kids that last year. It's that our goal every year is to be better than the previous year. Just like every week you want to be better than you were the previous week. That's just the goal. And our kids last year bought into it. And the good thing for us is we still have a lot of those kids back. I mean, we graduated a lot of people. And then we look at it, well, we had, 5 full-time starters on offense come back. We had 3 linemen. We had a running back that was in a committee. We had Paisel at receiver. And then you look, well, we also had another receiver that played. So really you're up to 7 guys that played for you last year at a small school coming back. And one of the kids was Ricky Wilrich, who didn't play. And then you see him on the field, and it's, okay, well, you got 8 quality starters now. So we still have talent here. We still have kids that work hard, that want to win. I will say that there's some inexperience this year, and we're not always doing the things we need to do to win. But I think we can coach it to the point where we can be competitive with those big boys again. So we don't want to fall back into the pack, but at the bottom of the pack like we were when I first started. It's we want to be near the top. If we want to go into Week 10 with a chance to win the league like we did last year.
Right. Coach, thanks again for taking the time to do this interview. I really appreciate it. Great talking to you for the first, and hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, appreciate it, Eric. Thanks
yes,
for
sir.
having me.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is Coach's Corner for the Warren JFK Volleyball Lady Eagles. DJ Yoakley, Sam Young, in his 7th year. We were just talking off the record here about how it started. So, I mean, that's a great story. And I think a great learning lesson, not only for you, but for a lot of those coaches out there that think that coaching kind of happens when you're ready. It didn't really happen that way. Can you take us through that story you just talked about?
No, yeah. So whenever I started here at the upper campus in 2018, I went to the athletic director and I said, I want to help. I want to help somewhere. I don't know where, but I just, I want to help out as an assistant. At the time, I, just recently married but no kids, so, I had free time on my hand. And a couple of weeks go by and they bring me in and they say, listen, we got a problem with volleyball. We don't have a coach.
Yeah.
The past 5 years before that, they had a new coach every single year.
Which is tough.
Yeah, so you can't really have stability with that. And so they told me, they said, if you don't take this head coach position, we're going to have to close the program. So right off the bat, I'm like, all right, this is the, pressure right away.
Hero, ladies and gentlemen, a hero.
So my idea was, hey, I want to give kids the chance to play instead of not having it.
Yeah.
It's going to help out our school, because if we get girls who are interested, but then they find out, well, there's no volleyball program, maybe they don't come here. So for me, it was about like stepping up, and doing something out of my comfort zone, because I had no idea about volleyball. I mean, I knew nothing. Backyard picnic, 4th of July play, but I knew nothing. But for me, it was like, all right, well, this is an opportunity to do something. Yeah. So those first couple years were pretty rough.
Yeah.
The schedule, we were in this big conference with all these Cleveland teams, and we didn't really have a lot of height and didn't have a lot of players, and even equipment. A lot of equipment we just didn't have.
Stuff you don't think about.
Yeah, right, and stuff I didn't even realize until you really get into it and see the other programs and what they have. So that was pretty big at that time, was just trying to get things started and going in the right direction. And this is year 7 for me now, so we've come a long way since then. We got a ton of equipment now. I have so many girls that the past several years we've had to have tryouts.
Kudos.
I mean, yeah. So this summer I almost had as many girls as the football team had players.
Oh, wow.
So I had 27. So we had to have tryouts and everything, and that's a great thing to see that coming in. And now, with all these girls coming in, I get a lot of girls with club experience too, which has been new, the past couple of years. So now it's like, all right, not only do I have bodies, but I have bodies who are also playing club, or they're doing stuff year-round with volleyball. So that's been huge for our program.
So let's take a step in the old DeLorean. Let's go 88 miles an hour back to the past. If you had a chance to talk to Sam Young 7 years ago, when it felt like you were drinking out of the fire hose, what would you explain to him, and what would be your advice as to what he can expect, and what what would you just tell him and say, hey, patience and persistence is going to pay off for you?
Yeah, I think as a teacher, I'm always trying to up my game. I'm always trying to figure out, like, how can I make lessons better? What can I do to make things more engaging?
Efficiencies.
I teach here at JFK. So, how can I reach more kids? What's my connection with kids here? So I'm always trying to figure out, how do I improve? And as a coach, that's what you have to do, no matter you've been doing this for 7 years, 27 years, no matter what, you have to improve. And you can't worry about what's happened in the past either. So I think for me, if I were to go back in time, just the idea of like, hey, just take it one day at a time. Yeah. And it's going to take a while, but you're getting there, So there's some learning curves, there's some things that I did. It's looking back and it's like, yeah, I definitely should not have done that,
right.
But now it's like, all right, now I know, and that, a lot of parents have reached out to, have helped in the past. One person who's really helped me out is Mrs. Consiglio.
Yep.
She had a ton of experience at LeBray. So bouncing ideas off of her, that's been really helpful for me. But I think just the idea of like, hey, just take it one day at a time, that would be the advice I'd give myself.
How have your expectations changed with this program?
In the beginning, the real reason why I did it was I wanted to give girls a chance to play and just keep things alive, But now that we've past 4 years or so, we've always been on the edge. It's like, we're just a couple of steps away from here or a couple points away here. Now this year, I think I don't know if I want to declare there yet, because we got some big games coming up. But I think we're on that cup of finally reaching our goal. I was just looking it over the other day on Max Preps, and the volleyball program from when it started in, I believe, 2007, not really had that much of a winning record and tradition here. And this year, with how we're playing and how we're communicating finally on the floor, I think this is going to be a big year for us. And I think in the past, people have looked at JFK volleyball and it's like, easy win.
Not so easy anymore.
I don't think it's going to be that way anymore. I think when you see us, it's going to be like, all right, like our girls, we're going to have to work, And I told our girls, like, volleyball is not a perfect game. You know, you got to be okay with
Right.
making a mistake here and there. But how do you recover from that? If you let that one bad play affect you, well, it's going to affect you for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plays.
Right.
So you got to let it go. You know, and a lot of my girls, they're kind of the perfection type of, you know, academics and this and this. And, you know, I got National Honor Society girls, which is great. But I got to let them know, like, hey, the real world perfection is not, that's not real.
Right.
That's not going to happen. You know
Point
what I mean?
one can't affect point 25.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so if you have a bad serve, move on. You know, just
Fair
we'll
enough.
worry about. You know, I'll talk to you about it later. You
Right.
know, or whatnot. So just relax, move on, get this point.
Okay, so 6-4 as we sit here today, winning record as we sit here today, some big matches coming up for you. I mean, do you have that big game feel? I mean, you mentioned when you started, every game was a big game, every match was a big match, every set was a big set. Do you have big game feels now where you can go, okay, kind of like you said earlier, everybody looked at JFK volleyball a certain way. Can you kind of be like, okay, this is a big one for our program, this is a big one for our program, and circle them on the calendar? Or is it still kind of everyone's a big game as you move the program?
Yeah, for me, it's always that idea of, you know, every game is the big game.
Yeah.
Because once you get in the mentality of they're not on our level,
Yeah.
then that's where the mistakes happen. I think I'm a huge college football fan, so I think you see that a lot with college football programs.
Saw a lot last week.
Yeah, yeah. You know, a lot of upsets.
Yeah.
You know, NIU going to Notre Dame.
Yep.
Right. Even though they're not as big, like Colorado, kind of getting big on their high horse and everything. And you know, for me, it's the idea of like, hey, you take this opportunity right in front of you. Like, you can't worry about next week. Can't do anything about yesterday. You can focus on what's going on right now. And for me, that's the main focus. Now, obviously, as a coach, you know, look at the schedule and you see some games. It's like, okay, that's a big game. But when I'm with the girls, I want them focusing on this game right now.
Yeah.
Don't, you know, like, hey, yesterday we had St. Thomas Aquinas. Tomorrow we have Mooney. It's like, hey, when we're here with St. Thomas Aquinas, it's St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah.
That's it.
Don't worry about Mooney.
Yeah. Like, don't even say the name.
It'll be fair enough. It'll come to you regardless.
Yeah.
For you, who were some of your bell cows, so to speak? Who are the girls that you look at and you go, okay, you're helping our program no matter where you are, what year? Who are some of those ladies you should shout out?
It's something that's been with our program for a while now. Anaya Johnson is somebody who has just really stuck with it from the beginning.
Okay.
Danielle Wickham, both of them are our senior captains. They've been here from the beginning, from when it wasn't so great.
Sure.
You know, and they stuck with it. When, you know, they really could have just bounced and left at any time, but they decided to stay with it and see it through. So I really give props to them. Hannah Myers, she's a sophomore. She's a junior, sorry. Phenomenal player. She's been playing club for years now. She just has such a high volleyball IQ. There's many times where, you know, I'll be talking to somebody else and she kind of has a huddle of the girls together. Then I'll come over and she's like, yeah, we're done. We're ready for a break. I'm like, yeah, okay. You know, it's just, it is what it is. So she knows the floor better than anybody else. And then Riley Gillespie, who's a sophomore, she's, again, phenomenal athlete. She plays club. She does everything on the floor for us in the back row. She's my libero, and she's just like a net. You know, wherever the ball's at, she's probably going to be there. Just the other day, she set a new program single set match record for Diggs in a single match with 31, and then Hannah Myers set a record with 29 kills in a match too. So both of those players, Hannah and Riley, have been really phenomenal for us lately. So, and seeing that kind of play helps elevate the other players on our team. So like some of the younger girls see that and they're like, okay, I want to be that. You know what I mean? So they're always kind of challenging for that role.
There's another wave coming up, as I understand it, of really good, talented volleyball players. You know, is it nice to have that? I mean, you mentioned that you almost had as many girls come out for volleyball as the boys did for football.
Yeah.
When you see that, or does that kind of put pressure back on you of, oh man, I better make sure that this is worth the wait and worth them trying out and things of that nature?
Yeah, for me, like I always put a lot of pressure on myself to try to get the best out of everyone. And I am very critical of, you know, in the summer of what we're doing in the summer and how we do it. Because for me, I'm like, okay, if I make practice the most challenging part of their week, by the time we get to the game day, it's no problem. I think we're seeing that transition too, with obviously the players. The will has to be there, but the talent also has got to be there as well. Because if you have one, it's great, but then when you have both, then it's like, okay, then we're moving somewhere. And with the girls, coming out, there's a higher skill level that they're having because they're doing other things outside of volleyball, just here at JFK. Club, or just playing on their own, or doing the workouts at home. So there's a real high emphasis of highest standards here now, and that's something that's again, it took a while to get to. And once the girls kind of figured that out and understood that, and they bought into it, then it's like, all right, things are moving in the right direction now.
You mentioned, you started this when, you just got married, no
Yep.
family,
Yep.
anything. How has your life changed in those 7 years that made things increasingly challenging or increasingly worthwhile?
Yeah, so my wife and I, who's also an alumni, I met her here at JFK. I actually remember where I saw her for the very first time here. She graduated with me in 2007, which doesn't seem that long ago. but
Right.
my
Goes
st-
fast.
My students always tell me that's a long time ago.
They weren't born.
Yeah, they weren't born yet. So we're both alumni, and we have two little ones now. I have a daughter who's starting preschool, Scarlett, and she's over at Rainbow here.
That's
and then I have a 1-year-old son, Harrison, who he's walking. So of course, as many of you parents know, when they're walking, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
So-
man. One-on-one defense, right?
Yeah. So, that, as much as, don't get me wrong, I love being a father and everything, but yes, that can always create issues of, okay, who's watching them this day? Do I got everything ready in a diaper bag to drop them off here?
Yeah.
I got to get up even earlier for, if we have a 9:00 practice, well, I got to get up at 6 because then I got to get them up. I got to take them to, mom and dad's, or my mom and dad's, or, her mom. So, yeah, it's a little extra, but it's just part of the process. And for me, it's just the idea of like, hey, it is what it is. So there's, just go do it. And
Are they ones that come to the game? Do they come and support, or they watch? Kind of wait for you to come home.
They'll watch, like, sometimes, like,
Yeah.
online
Yeah.
and stuff. But yeah, I think the big fear is with the little ones, they'll want to come hang out with dad.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't be dad right now. I got to be coach right now. You know what I mean? So daddy can't be holding you and holding
That's
hands
awesome.
right now. So, and my oldest, Scarlett, I know in her, she'd be like, well, can I just go in and play?
Yeah. Well, that's. I mean, are you gonna push her towards volleyball?
Whatever she wants to do.
Good.
For me, it's, whatever she enjoys. If she wants to be in plays, she wants to dance, do gymnastics, cheer, whatever. It don't matter to me. So, I mean, now I definitely do more volleyball stuff than soccer, or we do basketball, and
Sure.
stuff like that. But yeah, whatever she wants to do is fine with me.
Awesome, Sam. 7th year. Congratulations on all your success. We're proud
Thanks,
of
man.
you. We'll be back right after this. All right, when we come back on the Ysn Power Hour, we are joined by Valley Christian head coach, Mr. Andy Hake, after a 30-second timeout, brought to you by our friends at Toyota of Warren.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
Thanks as always to our friends over at Toyota Warren, Tino, the whole crew over there, making sure that the YSN Toyota Tundra gets from place to place. And one place we always want to go is wherever this guy is going to be. One of my best friends in the world, one of the guys that I would run through a wall for, and so would a lot of people. Ladies and gentlemen, this time we bring in what I believe is to be a national champion at some time in his tenure down the road. Ladies and gentlemen, the head ball coach of Valley Christian, Andy Hake. What's up, Coach?
America, how you doing, buddy? We're here down
never
at
been-
South High, man. We're down here at South High. Dudes are getting ready to go for practice here. Look at this.
Oh,
War Eagle, baby. South High.
South
Iconic.
High.
The Coliseum. The Southside Coliseum, baby. We're down here, going to get ready for East Palestine. Both teams are 3-1. We're excited. Big challenge for us this week. I might turn and yell at my guys here as they're getting ready to practice, but it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. How you doing, man?
Dude, if I was any better, I'd be Andy Hake, I guess,
Oh,
at
would
this
you?
point.
Oh, man, you're not aiming high. But, hey, look, I'll tell you what. We have big games this week, don't we? Big games all over the place.
Huge games. Let's start with yours. You talked about East Palestine. 3-1 versus 3-1. Obviously, you guys sitting at the top of the rankings with Palestine United in the EOAC. For you, I know it's week 5, and I don't want you to minimize any other games, but the next biggest game is always the next one, right? So for you, how big is this game in comparison, and how impressed are you with what East Palestine's been able to put together this year?
Well, we always have respect for people we're playing. Doesn't matter who we play. We have respect for them, and we build them. These games are so precious. You only get 10 of them. So, you can't take anything for granted. And we're going to prepare every team to try to take away their strengths. East Palestine's big boy. They got a big line, a big quarterback, some nice skill guys, and they come right downhill at you. They present a real problem. We're going to have to really rally to the football, and we're quick and tenacious, and we better be hitting on Friday. And our guys know that, and they're preparing properly. But again, East Palestine, they're just getting better and better and better the last few years. And I think this is a lot of seniors on their team, and their coach has done a good job. And belief is a funny thing, and I think that they believe in themselves. And it's going to be a formidable opponent on Friday night. That I can tell you.
So I guess the question is it's always speed or power, speed or size, right? So you're in a scenario where you're the speed. Do you feel comfortable with speed? Because you're usually the guy with the biggest dogs in the yard.
I like my team. I like my chances. We have a really nice team, and you play with the hand you're dealt with. So we have a faster team. We have a tenacious group of guys, and we played some tough teams up to this point, and we fell to Malvern in one of the last 3 games against St. Thomas Aquinas and Brookfield and Latonia, and we feel good about ourselves, but we got to get better and better and better, and this is a big week for that. And it's a true test. East Palestine's going to really test us, and they feel really good about themselves, and I know they're big, so they are powerful, and we're going to have to sustain, take some punches early on and try to outquick them. And I think their coaches know that's our game, and they're going to try to run us over. So it's going to be a fun game. Been in a lot of these games over the years. I've been in a lot of these games. So you know what? You got to use your experience as a coach, but your kids haven't been in a lot of these games because they only go through high school for 4 years. So you know what? We got to take the experience from the coaching staff and relay, what the key aspects of winning this game. It's a cliche, but you got to protect the football. You got to play good special teams and then out hit them. And got a lot of respect for them. So we just got to play our best hand, like I said. And they're a good team. They are. They're a good. Their quarterback's a good player. Number 6 or number 2 is a really good wideout. And big line, man. We're going to have to get on them and run our feet, and hopefully we can sustain some blocks long enough. But defensively, it's definitely going to be something we have to outquick them. If we don't outquick them, we're going to get killed.
Big game on Saturday. You guys end up with a 46-6 victory over Latonia.
Yeah.
Jay Sean goes for 263 on 12 carries. Every time that young man touches the ball, it is like Joe Dickey electric.
Hold your breath.
It's unbelievable for you to have a back like that, who you've been promoting for the last 4 years as this is the guy, this is the guy, this is the guy. What's that like?
Man, I feel like Don King promoting Tyson. You know what I mean? This guy's a tremendous. I got a lot of weapons, man. We're not a one-trick pony. We have a nice quarterback. You saw that. We have some good receivers, and our offensive line's getting better every day. And defensively, we have guys that run to the football, really hit. Jay Sean's a special individual. Every time he gets the ball, he can score. Saying that, he has to get better. He stay humble hearts, stay humble, get better. And we're approaching this thing, win them all or bust. That's just how we feel about it. You know what I mean? And how do you eat an elephant, man? One bite at a time. So you know what? We're going to try to just take one bite at a time and every day chew on a bigger piece. So today we're going to work on, we're going to work on our fronts immediately. We're going to get into some formation recognition. We're going to do some special teams. We're going to go back to individual defense, group defense, go back to individual offense, group offense, and then finish with team. And I'm going to be screaming at them the whole time to be picking up the pace. And you know what? Our guys have a chip on their shoulders. They play with the chip on their shoulders. I got Youngstown City kids, man. They're tough kids. And we use that as a badge of courage. This is one of the toughest cities in the country. And I feel like we have some of the toughest kids in the country. So, it's a badge of courage, but at the same time, you got to live up to it. I tell the kids, you have to live up to this. If this is what it is, and damn it, this is what you got to be. And I have a good group of kids that are receptive to that, and my coaches are good men, and it's a good school. But I feel good about going to this game. I'll tell you in the next 2 days how much better I feel. But yesterday was a great practice. I'll make sure today's a good practice. But as you can see, hey, this is home of champions right here. This is home of champions. South High, old South High. Got the old South High behind me, the arena.
Wow.
And then behind me got the stadium. Got the old ball team out here. Got some great kids, man. Awesome kids. America's finest. So I'm just going to coach them up. And, hey, there's some other big games this week, bro. We
There
got
are
a
some
couple
big
up.
games.
Struthers South Range.
That's a big game.
Huge game. Is it going to be business as usual and the Raiders murk them? Or is Struthers not murk them, but murk everybody? But, is the Cat going to be able to – they got a big line. They got some nice backs. The Cat
trouble
looks
is
good.
We got some injuries. On Struthers' side.
That always gets you, man, when you got injuries. But you know what? I think the Cat is not going to come up with excuses. They're going to play hard. And who else is playing? I think Harding's playing Ursuline.
They are.
That's a great game. Harding feels like they're resurrected a little bit. What other games are really big in this area this week?
Listen, I'm going to tell you this, and for what it's worth, it's not just because you're on the other side of this call, but I think your game might have the most in the balance.
Well, we like having balance in the force. So, you know what I mean? We love having balance in the force. But
what lightsaber are you guys? Are you guys a blue lightsaber?
Well, what lightsaber should I be? You know what I mean? I'm just going to pull it out and wield it like my father before me.
Can't be red. You can't be red.
Well, I don't want to be Vader, although sometimes I'm looked upon as Vader. You know what I mean? But I like to think that we're on the light side of the force. You know what I mean? I know this. Our league is wide open. I think anybody can beat anybody. I feel like that about high school football. It's about Jimmies and Joes, not X's and O's. It's about guys playing hard. It's about people. It's always about people. Why do the winning programs always winning? Because they believe in things. You know what I mean? And their people are they value football. They value tradition. They value excellence. And those are the teams that usually do it. And people that don't value, they don't know and they don't belong. They're just Monday morning quarterbacks to me. And I'm not being funny and making fun of anybody, but there's reasons why South Range is always winning. There's reasons why certain schools are always are at the top, and they might have a down year or two, but they don't stay down long. And it's Springfield started with a tough schedule. You watch Springfield's going to rattle off wins now. Yep. Because they value football, they value team, they value community, they value the school, and they're going to play a certain way. And it's always usually the same people that are up top. And I'm not trying to say there's every school doesn't have great years, up years. This is one of East Palestine's up year. Yep. You know what I mean? They're trying to defy some odds. They've been down for a minute, and now they're playing like heck. Got to give them credit. But overall, I think it's usually the same people that are winning, right? I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not. I'm going to put you on the spot here and just use your best guess.
Yeah.
In the EOAC.
Yeah.
In the NE8, both. Do you think the winner of the league loses a game inside the league, inside the conference?
Oh. I mean, if you had a gun to my head right now and said the NEA, it's easier to talk about someone else's league. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because I know my team's more, but for me to say, hey, we're going to win every game, and that's foolish talk. You know what I mean? Because United can knock us off, Southern can knock us off, East Palestine can knock us off. You know, Columbiana, if we don't play well. You know what I mean? There's any team can knock you off. You know, so Lisbon scored a lot of points against East Palestine last week.
Didn't Wellsville play you guys tough last year as well? I'm trying to think. I thought that was the game. 2 years ago.
Okay. We went undefeated, almost lost down there. It took us a 99-yard drive at the end of the game, a miraculous drive. So, no, you don't take any team for granted. I might like to think that we're one of the better teams in the league. But South Range, I think right now, if you said who's going to win the NE8, until someone beats South Range, they didn't beat them, right?
Yeah.
Until someone beats them, they didn't beat them. So, you know, South Range is one of the teams to beat, bro. And then, Rock's great. I think that Timmy Cooper at West Branch has as good a chance as anyone to run the table and then do well in the playoffs. Tim got inducted in the Western Reserve Hall of Fame the other day with Jeff Clegg, two heroes of mine.
Clegger was on the broadcast, by the way.
He's an American legend.
Of course,
you don't let him talk too much because you might not have the other guys on there anymore. You know what I mean? They knew it too. They were saying it during the game, like, "Hey, man, you're just some special guest, right?" But Jeff's a football guy. He's not, you know what I mean? He's going to talk about scheme and he's going to talk about things he sees. And heck, he was on my staff. We went 10-0. He called the plays with me.
Hey, so, you can tell he's a branch off your tree. There's no doubt about that.
He's an American legend. Not me, but he is. Jeff is wonderful, but no, we're getting better every day down here. And as you can see, hold on, let me see if I can flip the script here.
Oh, here we go.
It is. Oh, it is. Hey, fellas! Ysn Live! Whose house? Whose city? Whose city? House rules! House rules! Circle up for Ysn! Go ahead. Something cool. Here we go. Circle up, man. Circle up. Get in the middle, you. Here we go. Here's the Valley's team, bro. Take a good look at the Valley's team, man. Get a clap going, fellas. Get a clap going. Oh, like only the South Side can. On you, my homie. Yeah. Live from the front line. All right, fellas, everybody to the side.
I love this.
They're not doing that in North Korea today. Hey, Jay, come here. You want to? Hey, I'm gonna turn this up. I'm gonna take my headset off. How do I put the speaker on? Does it show it? Come on, it's all right. You stay here. It don't matter. Hold on one second. I gotta get this.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Hold on. Here's the dudes. Come here, man. It's all right. Come on in here.
Intro him, Andy. Intro him.
Jay Sean Cold-Blooded Lindsay. We got Alfred Coward. We got Dr. Harrison. You know what I mean? Amir, you want to come say hi to everybody live? Come here, Mike. This is Cold-Blooded Dixon, Amir Dixon. So, a.k.a. Sweetness. And this is, hey, look at Mike. What are you weighing, Mike?
150.
Hey, 150. Knock you around, boy. Let me tell you that right now. Mike linebacker coming at you. No, this is a great team we got here. John Muir, come say hi to YSN. Come here. You're on live. Look at this guy. Hey, look at Big Daddy. Center nose guard. No, look at it. Hey, look. I know we're having fun, but these guys are some of the best guys you'd ever coach. They're loyal guys. They're seniors and they're loyal guys. And they love football. They love playing for each other. They're very coachable guys. I yell at them a lot, but it's worth it. Believe me when I tell you that. Some of the best guys you'd ever meet right down here. They're some of the best guys you'd ever meet. And we are, hey, you're right. We are the premier game this week. We are the premier game. So
I love it.
we're gonna walk the walk, and we're gonna play our apples off. And hey, fear the war eagle. I love you. I'll talk to you soon, and always remember America first.
Andy Hake, ladies and gentlemen, there he goes. There's only one. There is only one of Andy Hake. And I'll tell you what, that was pretty awesome. That was pretty special to see that, all of that. He is the Don King of the Valley. There's no doubt about it. The best promoter there is anywhere. He will sell ice cream bars to an Eskimo. So I can't wait. I cannot wait. It's honestly one of the games that I've had circled on my schedule since it came out. I mean, it's one of those games. It's a once in a generation game. Once in a generation game. And you look at this, and I've already heard the hubbub. Oh, it's only because it's your friend. It's only because it's your alma mater. It's only because, listen, I'll tell you right now, this game has all the makings for one of the best games in the entire Valley. And this, I mean, it could be an absolute dogfight. It could be a shootout at the OK Corral, like we talked about yesterday. It could be a slobber knocker, but it could just fall on its ear because one of these teams could take over. You've got Owen Yuriauchi on one side. You saw him, Jay Sean Lindsay, Dion Miller, the quarterback. Alfred Coward had a touchdown and a pick that almost went back to the house. RJ May from East Palestine as well. You've got Rutledge. You've got in the big boys up front for East Palestine. I mean, it is the size against the speed. And guess what? You don't go too far down the road to Rominger Stadium on the campus of South Range High School, and by golly, you've got size against speed. Struthers' size against South Range's skill and speed. Injuries be damned. That's what Struthers is saying. I hope they count. That's what Struthers is saying right now, because you're looking at the message boards, you're looking at this, the chatter throughout the entire internet, and you're saying Struthers is hoping South Range takes them lightly because they're injured. Struthers isn't a one-man band. We're going to bring it. We hope South Range is looking to Poland already. That's what you're hearing from the message boards. Not necessarily Struthers themselves. That's what you're hearing from the message boards. Struthers likes being the underdog. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? But South Range also buying into the fact that they're the underdog. I mean, if you were to go and look at this, Drew Pasteur aside, if you're looking at this particular game, each side thinks they're the underdog, so both sides are even. I can't wait to see what the line is on this particular game that Drew Pasteur puts on it. I cannot wait to see it. Also cannot wait to see Valley Christian and East Palestine, because these two teams, aside from essentially the points against category, are identical. Same record, very close in points scored. The only factor is points against. That Valley defense is something that nobody's talking about. That Valley defense is something that is going to be something interesting to talk about on Friday night, because that East Palestine offense is either elite or borderline elite. There is no average in that. When Six has the football, you have to respect what he can do with it through the air and on the ground. When you are running for over 300 yards as a quarterback, I don't give a damn who you are. That's incredible. That is incredible, and it is noteworthy. And obviously, he wins the EOAC Player of the Week for the third time. But there's some boys over on the south side that are pretty pissed that they're not getting any love. Valley feels like, and I'm going to speak on behalf of what I've been able to look at and what I've been able to kind of investigate on my own. Valley feels like they're not very well liked in that conference for whatever reason. And there's a level of disrespect that follows them. Now, it might be absolutely fugazi. It might be absolutely drawn up to inspire their own guys. or it could be real. Whatever it is, these guys are believing that nobody respects them. Nobody wants them to do well. Nobody wants to see them succeed. Nobody gives them a second look. Nobody gives them opportunity. They're just going to come and take it. So you've got an East Palestine team that is incredible when it comes to, they have been laying low. They've been trying to get things back on the track. They've been trying to get things, people in their weight room, grow the program, do all the things that they had in the year 2002, in the year 2003. You look at the Peterson years, you look at the Parker Sherry years, and now is it a new generation of East Palestine Bulldogs? There's a lot of freshmen that are coming up that have had their eye on this program for a long time. A lot of dads who were part of those winning programs, a lot of uncles that were part of those winning programs that want the East Palestine Bulldogs to be back on the map. And the one thing that's standing before them this week are those boys from the South Side. Those guys that nobody respects, that nobody cares about, that nobody ever talks about, that are not in the power rankings. They're not ever anywhere. The only time they get respect is about 10 o'clock on a Friday night when you sit there and you look across and you look at that scoreboard and you go, oh boy, we didn't expect that. When you see zero running past you, you didn't expect that. Size, they may be short on this year. But skill, they have in abundance. They have in abundance. In East Palestine, I can promise you, it's in our DNA to be pissed off. It's in our DNA to feel like we are being shortchanged. It's in our DNA to feel like we are always the underdogs. That is East Palestine. The question is, can they capture that? Can they bottle that up? And on Friday night, can they take back the EOAC? Can they take back the dominance that they've once had, not only in this league, but in the ITCL, in the TCL? They want another gold trophy in their trophy case. Can the East Palestine Bulldogs get what they have worked so incredibly hard for? Can they make it happen? Or is it Valley Christian's time? Because we got a whole nother conversation whenever United enters the chat here in a couple weeks. This is going to be one of the funnest years for football in that EOAC and in the MVAC and in the NE8 that we have seen in a long, long time. This is not me selling it. This is me telling you this is going to be a great year for football and one of the biggest years. And you're going to want to watch it. And there's only one place to watch it all go down. And that's right here on YSN. Best interviews, best, fastest scores. It's where, listen, hey, real talk. If you want to know a secret that they don't even know about, we know that the folks that are competing against us watch our stuff. And they take our stuff. They take our scores. They use our analysis. How do we know that? Because it's repeated. And nobody's talking to them the way that we are. Verbatim. We've had our quotes show up on newscasts, in stories. And that's okay. Our goal is not to be the best journalistic entity in town. Our goal, number one priority, is to make sure we are giving these student athletes and communities a platform that they can be proud of, that they can look and say, hey, those are our kids. Being a fan of kids from different communities and just bringing their name up in conversation is enough for us. That's a win. That's what we do better than anybody else. It's not about us. It's about them. That's the biggest thing. That's what I love seeing. So people are always, oh, this, that, and the other. It doesn't get lost on us, but we just don't acknowledge it anymore. We're running our own race. We lapped our competition years ago. And now we just continue to raise the bar. And we do it with things like what you just saw with Andy Hake live at practice, talking about the Valley's team. That's the stuff. We want to do that with every single community we have. There is no bias. There is no anything. The way that it goes down, is that we absolutely love every school, every district, every community that we're a part of. It is our job to make them look better, feel better, and be exposed more so than ever before. For good. For good. That's the biggest thing. Get them out there. Promote, promote, promote. It's not about us. And you're not going to get just 30 seconds to talk about your team. You're going to take 30 minutes if you want it. Some of these interviews, I mean, we've had Andy on for an hour. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Take the hour. We don't care. Talk about your guys. Talk about your girls. Talk about your coaches. Talk about your community. That's the biggest thing. That's why this is so important. These shows, so incredibly important. I know we didn't get to Jill Phillips today. We will have her on tomorrow. You can actually go to the website. I'm always so close to making it through. So close to making it through without that cough. You can go on the website right now, ysnlive.com, and you can see the Jill Phillips interview for Cross Country for Warren JFK. We have to do our Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric. They are everything electrical, and you can visit them at You can visit them at DickeyElectric.com. Here we go. The Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric. They are everything electrical. Visit them on the web at DickeyElectric.com. That's what I wanted to get out before the big sparks and electric and all that stuff. Big time night. I want to give credit where credit's due. We've been talking about this young lady for a long time. She's a senior now. She will graduate early. Now holds 6 records in the record books at Crestview in that program for the volleyball program. And I want to give a credit to Abby Emsch, who has been, we've had her on the show, interviewed her multiple times. Anthony, the majority of it, because he does such a great job with that and follows the elite players. Elite doesn't even begin to explain Abby Emsch, the kind of high character young lady that she is, the hard work that she's put into her craft, the time, the resources, the effort, waiting for her time. This is Abby Emsch time. And I'll tell you what, for her to get another record last night, the kills record, 6 records in that absolute elite program over at Crestview. Kudos. Congratulations, Ab. We're all proud of you. It's been such a joy and continues to be a joy to watch you in that program over at Crestview as they are undefeated again. Congratulations. And I know that's not enough nearly, but you go from Big Dog to Big Panther next year, and you just continue to amaze everybody. Kudos to you, Abby Emsch. We're all proud of you, and you are today's Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by DickeyElectric.com. That's our show. Plenty more. We will be all over the place tonight. The Poland Bulldogs show over at Bulldogs Bar and Grill. Tigers Table will host the Springfield show. We will have the Ursuline show at the Golden Dawn. We got the South Range Raiders show tonight at Giangelo's. We are all over the place. And don't forget, tomorrow at Coca's Pizza, the Canfield show. Camel Memorial, you have your show at Tavern 26. And then every Monday now at Bedford Trails, you can go see the Louisville Rockets show. All are live to tape, and then we will kick them over as we see fit and we need some interviews. So God bless you all. God bless America. Thanks to Andy Haig for stopping in and chopping it up for us and with us for a little bit. We will see you tomorrow on the Ysn Power Hour. We think Scotty Mincher will join us. We'll have to find out. But we will see you tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on the network. Ysn thanks you for watching this presentation